Welcome home. There is in this place the possibility of healing, of repair, of making things right within ourselves and the wider world. We gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Hello and good morning, Grand Rising, and welcome to Wedgewood. We're glad you're here. We have just a few announcements and upcoming events this morning. Next Sunday, July 26th, our very own Shay Watts will be sharing their message, The Artificial Intelligence Problem and a Faithful Response. And then our next monthly meetup will be at Optimist Hall this time. We had a great meetup last Tuesday together. We visited the Caribbean, y'all. We went to Jamaica and it was really tasty. We had a great time. We love meeting together and sharing in camaraderie and community and great food. So we hope that you join us at our next meetup on Tuesday, August 11th at 6:30. We're going to be meeting up at Optimist Hall, which is a food hall here in Charlotte. There is ample parking. There are multiple entrances. I'm going to make sure to add information on the Facebook page as well as our website and newsletter with parking information and accessibility information if anybody wants to use stairs or if they want to use a ramp to come in. But also a map, because if you've never been to Optimist Hall, it's pretty cool, but you really do kind of need a map to see all the different things because there's all sorts of different food stalls. So it should be really fun. And we hope to see you there. And if you feel so moved, our call to action this year has been for Time Out Youth. They have a Life Essentials closet and a food pantry to support the youth that come to their organization. So if you want to help fill up those closets and those pantries, here are some of the suggested items that they are requesting, but anything helps. And there is a lot going on this summer. It has been a busy, busy, busy summer. There is so much going on that we can't possibly keep track of it all. So if you see a community event that you think we should know about or put on our calendar, please send it our way. You can send us a direct message on social media. You can also email us. But we need your help making sure that we get all those events on our community calendar so other folks can know about it. So we'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Grand Rising again to everyone. We're glad you're here. Are you feeling groovy? I hope you are, because during this service, we hope we're going to help you to learn how to feel a little more groovier and stop being so overwhelmed and slowing down and taking that divine pause every once in a while. But welcome to Wedgewood, visitors, members alike. We're so glad that you're here. We are very proud to be an open-minded, culturally diverse, service-oriented community. We are interfaith. Our members come from all religious and faith backgrounds, and some from none. We provide a safe haven for everyone to explore your beliefs, listen to other beliefs, change your mind, and ask questions and grow with us spiritually and intellectually. We hope you find something here at Wedgewood today that draws you back next Sunday. And as a community that considers social justice to be a cornerstone of who we are, we always want to acknowledge that the land we reside on is the unceded land of the Catawba and the Sugaree people. Our quiet reflection this morning is one that's very familiar to most of us. Psalm 23. It is one of the most popular scriptures of bringing peace and calm to people. It's a profound meditation that really affects a lot of people when they read it. It's a favorite for many. Just imagine the shepherd leading you away from the chaos of the world to the calm, cool waters. Tom?
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in the green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. And now our extravagant welcome led by Tom and Ashanti.
We are all welcome here.
Welcome to a community that works for peace, justice, equality, and care of Mother Earth.
We are all welcome here.
An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing, being depressed or full of joy.
We are all welcome here.
We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers striving to learn from and embody the way of Jesus and other spiritual leaders.
We are all welcome here.
And we focus on the plundered and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our day.
We are all welcome here.
And we invite you to share your passion and your inspiration and your personal stories as one of the ways to help heal the world.
We are all welcome here.
We are all welcome here.
Thank you. And now we come to our time of meditation, concerns and celebrations. Anything that is on your heart this morning. We were talking earlier about all the wildfires in Canada and some in California, and how they are affecting the people even far away in New York and other places, the wildlife running for their lives, and just such a horrible situation. So I think that's one we want to remember. And just the other day, in addition to Venezuela, we had a huge earthquake in Mexico, 7.3. So we want to remember the people who are suffering of these kind of natural disaster situations. Other things on your hearts and minds.
I've been thinking a lot about the two people murdered by ICE this month. Please forgive me if I pronounce their names incorrectly, but Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero and then Lorenzo Salgado Arjuja. They were both fatally killed by ICE this month. And there is no reason for that. No reason for that.
There's a concern about our food and water supplies. Continue to save the water or stock up on the water while we have it as much as possible, and keep it in a cool, dry place. Can't be in the garage where it's hot. And stock up on vegetables that are in the cans. I do that all year long, not just waiting for something to happen, but I prepare all year long. Just something to be mindful of.
And you know, Ashanti, in addition to that, I heard that at least one day this week, they had to close Wrightsville Beach because of they found a high amount of bad bacteria in the water. So they closed the beach. And then we've got the other parasite that's coming on lettuce and vegetables. So just a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of things going on. And with the vegetables, I always do this anyway, not just because it's what's happening, is to wash the vegetables and soak the fruit in baking soda and let them sit there for about 10 minutes or so. And anything that's inside, they don't like the baking soda and will come out.
Yeah.
In cold water.
It's a good practice.
Anything else?
Thankful that Chase made it to Ohio and he did well, and he's on his way back.
Yay.
Back home.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I know he's been having a ball.
Oh, he's been working really
Literally.
hard.
Yeah.
He's been working really hard. I think he needs a massage now. So as soon as he settles down, set up one for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been working really hard. His body and everything. So yeah.
Hmm.
The other thing is
We certainly want safe travels for all of those who are traveling today. We do have members traveling, and we have a couple members who are sick, so we wish them very speedy healing um, today.
yeah. And and my daughter Kiara's going to be 36 on Tuesday, which is quite
Oh,
amazing.
so young.
Wow. That's wonderful. Birthdays are a joy.
Yeah. It's a lot going on.
All right, well, let's have a moment of silence, however you choose to use it, for prayer, for meditation, for self-reflection, or just sitting in the quiet. Amen. And our topic this morning is the divine pause. I want us to do just that for a moment. Just pause and sit quietly. That simple exercise of pausing may have revealed something about us. Some people welcome the silence. Others may be thinking, oh no, we just paused. Let's get on with it. I have things to do this afternoon. And that reaction is the one that tells us something about the world we live in, that we've all become uncomfortable with stopping, just stopping. So today I want us to consider something we may have forgotten, the divine pause. The word divine means heavenly, blessed, beautiful, spiritual. And a pause is a temporary stop of activity. Sacred practice of pausing and explore how stepping back helps us see our lives more clearly, helps us to reconnect with what truly matters, and to make room for greater joy in our lives by simply pausing. When we meet someone for the first time, a lot of times the very first question they ask or we ask is, where do you work? What do you do? It expresses concern about the person. It also helps us get some information, engage a little bit about the new person, a place to start getting to know them, building a relationship. But in a subtle way, that question also tells us something about ourselves. We often see ourselves and others through what we do. Because work usually grows out of something that at first we found a strong interest or liking to. Whether it's computers, animals, education, or another field, there was something that drew us there. As a result, we tend to define both ourselves and others by the activities, how we spend our time, how busy we are, what we may accomplish. I'm sure you've seen an obituary that was nothing more than a list of achievements, jobs, organizations joined. Those things matter, but they don't really tell us who the person truly was. They describe what the person did, but not how they loved, not how they treated others, or the lasting difference they may have made. in someone's life around them. Even when our work does not arise from our deepest interest, we often develop a sense of identity from what we do. Losing a job can be devastating, not just because of the salary loss, but because it takes something away from how we view ourselves. It's become our identity. Most of us organize our lives around calendars. We have those little white boxes, whether in a book like I have or on a phone, and we fill those blocks in every week with things to do on how we're going to spend our days. And we measure our success sometimes at the end of the day by how many things we can check off on those boxes. Oh, I got everything done, or oh, I didn't get to that today. Our lives become centered on completing tasks and finishing one job just so we can move to the next job. Productivity becomes a standard by which we evaluate our days, and it can also become a standard in how we evaluate ourselves. If we didn't finish everything, we may not feel as good. If we did finish everything, we feel great. But then even if we finished everything, we start to worry, I was in a hurry and maybe I didn't do that quite right. Maybe I didn't do a good job of that one. There's nothing wrong with having a plan, budgeting time, and wanting to be productive, because most of us do have a limited amount of time and resources, and we worry about getting things done. But rather than trying to do everything, what if we evaluated our to-do list and put a little more focus intentionally on things that help us? Things that help us become healthier, happy, more connected to ourselves and one another. Too often, just being busy passes for productivity. And some of us like to say, oh, I'm just so busy. I'm so busy. Busyness can make us feel important. But activity does not always mean progress. It's not always moving us forward. Of course, there are responsibilities that we don't enjoy, but we have to do them anyway, and we all know that. But even though there are still those kinds of jobs, there are moments when it is wise to pause and evaluate where we put our priorities. Looking at our to-do list with fresh eyes can help us maybe distinguish between what's just keeping us busy and what's real progress. When we choose to spend more time on what truly matters, we become healthier, happier, and more fully present. Don't doubt that a divine pause is sacred, even biblical. Across many and most religious traditions, rest is not viewed as laziness, but as something essential. The pause matters. Growing up as a Christian, the idea of the Sabbath was central in my home. We all paused. We went to church. Everything was closed on Sunday. And after lunch, we all just sat on the front porch all afternoon, doing nothing. At the time, it just seemed ordinary to me as a kid. But looking back, I now see it as a lesson in the holiness of slowing down. In the Bible, the pause is not merely encouraged, it's commanded. In the New Testament, Jesus invites the weary, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest. I love the stories when Jesus disappears and no one can find him because he has intentionally withdrawn to a solitary place alone. Jesus made himself purposefully unavailable. He embraced the divine pause. 40 days in the wilderness. Countless mornings rising before dawn and going to a solitary place alone. And then moments like the Sermon on the Mount when he dismissed the crowd and retreated alone to the mountains for solitude. After a busy week, Jesus once told his disciples, go away to a deserted place by yourself and rest for a while. Other faith traditions teach the same wisdom. Hindu teachers remind us that activity and rest are equally vital aspects of life. Quote, wisdom lies in knowing when to act and when to rest, when to give the mind a break, and how to find peace and joy. In the Buddhist tradition, monks say, and quote again, calming allows us to rest. Resting is a precondition for healing and finding happiness. Smile, breathe, go slowly. This is the only moment. There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the earth revolves, slowly, evenly, not rushing into the future. When we take a pause and disconnect from our to-do list, our cell phones, our computers, and all the screens, in that temporary stillness, we can be reminded of our inherent worth as a person. The work doesn't go away. Our stress and worries may not disappear, but they begin to lose their grip on us. In the quiet, we reconnect with ourselves, finding clarity and a renewed sense of peace. Think about moments when you've been angry or engaged in a heated debate. We've all been told, stop, count to 10, and calm down. Or we've been told, sleep on it, let's come back tomorrow and talk about this again when we're both not so angry. That's a pause. Take a moment before speaking, sending an email, or firing off a text, because once you hit that send, it's gone. Don't hit send when your emotions are running high. Very rarely do we come through a conflict and say, oh, I wish I'd been more impulsive. So what happens when we pause? Things actually happen to our bodies. A pause interrupts our stress response. Our breathing deepens. Our heart rate slows, and our muscles begin to relax. And it gives our brains an opportunity to rest. We've interrupted the cycle of working, worrying, rushing, reacting, working, rushing, worrying, reacting, and our brains are able to transition from impulsive responses to more thoughtful processing. Instead of being driven by emotion, we begin to have the ability to think more clearly, consider different alternatives, and choose our words and actions with greater wisdom. In that brief space of time, we often find clarity, self-control, and the opportunity to respond rather than just react. Giving ourselves permission to calm down and take our time and focus on what really matters and make the wisest decision. We often believe we're going to gain something by plowing through, pushing harder, keeping going, staying up late at night and worrying about things, or staying up late at night and working. But when life is spinning out of control, whether it's our own choices, the news cycle, or difficult circumstances we have found ourselves in, a pause can lessen that sense of urgency that obscures what truly matters. And we can watch the news and every headline gets bigger and worse than the last. Anxiety continues to rise. The problems don't disappear, but if we step away for a while and turn the news off, we can gain a healthier perspective. Learn to focus on the things you can change and release the things you cannot. Jesus reminds us in Matthew 6:34, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Even the creatures in the forest understand the value of rest. When animals are injured, they find a safe, quiet place to lie down. They lie still for days if necessary. They're not worried about finding food or water or keeping up with the herd or their usual routines. They simply rest and allow their bodies time to heal. I experienced that not too long ago during one of the heavy snows that we had a few years ago. There was a buck that came up in our backyard, and he laid down behind the azalea bushes in the backyard. He was obviously injured. I kept watching him, not sure if there was anything I could do to help him. He wasn't pacing. He wasn't trying to keep up. He wasn't trying to get up. He wasn't trying to leave. He was just lying there resting. He laid there for hours, and actually it was days that he lay there. I would get up the next morning and he was still there. He was resting. He was simply taking time for healing. And then one day he got up and walked back into the woods. Nature understands something that we may have forgotten. Healing requires a rest and a pause. Yet when we get sick, we tend to want to keep going. Our minds are preoccupied with work, all the responsibilities we have. We worry, are we letting somebody down? Or are we forgetting to do something that is so urgent that we have to do? We don't rest. We push through, delaying the healing that a rest can provide. And the most productive thing we could do is to simply rest and allow our bodies the space to recover and heal. Today we are inundated with requests, and I know we all feel like somebody needs us all the time, or at least they think they do. I can remember when my son Mark was little, and it was like he needed me every second of every day. And even going into the bathroom, I would think would be a quiet pause, but then the little knock would come, Mommy, Mommy. And I'm like, oh, not even a rest in the bathroom. We're not letting anyone down when we take a pause. We're taking care of ourselves. Sometimes we have to say a holy no. I just can't. No. We are called to be activists, but we also need our times of inactivity, allowing ourselves sacred space to simply be. This summer, when I was in Calgary, I took my granddaughter to the park. And there weren't any other kids there. It was a small park. It was just the two of us. And I sat down on the bench, and she was going down the slide and all. And then all of a sudden, I looked over at her, and she was sitting there, legs crisscrossed, hands in this position, as if meditating in yoga. And I just watched her a few minutes and wondered what she was doing. And when she got up, I called her over. And I said, Maddie, what were you doing? And she said, meditating. I wondered if she knew what meditating is. And I asked, what do you mean meditating? What does that mean to you? And she said, well, Mama, sometimes you get just too much in your head and you need to clean it out. I said, what do you do when you meditate? What do you think about? And she said, birds, rainbows, butterflies, and unicorns, just nice things. We can take a lesson from that. And I then learned Canadian schools teach meditation. Sometimes our brains do need a break because there's too much stuff in there. Take a moment, look back at the last week. Have you really received a text message, a voicemail, an email that was so urgent you couldn't finish your dinner without responding to it? Or did you just feel the urgency to return it immediately? If we're honest with ourselves, those moments are few and far between. Yet we convince ourselves that everything is urgent and is an emergency and has to be handled right now because we are carrying the weight of other people's expectations of us. Their deadlines, their demands are controlling us. But does worrying about something actually change the outcome? Does answering immediately to something that's not an emergency change anything? Does anxiety solve our problems, or does it just steal our peace and joy? And yet we are allowing those things to take control of our time and our lives. Perhaps the challenge is learning to recognize what truly requires our attention and what can wait. And I believe in my heart that God does not want us rushing around through life, anxious and worried and stressing all of the time. I believe God wants us to be happy. John 15:11 says that my joy may be in you and your joy may be full. Romans 15:13, be filled with all joy. The scripture speaks of singing for joy, the fullness of joy, shout for joy. The fruit of the Spirit is love and joy. Psalm 118:24, this is the day the Lord hath made, rejoice and be glad in it. Joy and happiness are expressed all throughout the scriptures. And I love the Bobby McFerrin song that tells us, don't worry, be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Bobby McFerrin was a Christian who lived a very monkish lifestyle. Meditation, solitude, taking a pause, and time away were part of his valued routine. Actually, that song was created from McFadden's spiritual beliefs coming from an Indian spiritual guru, Meher Baba, who talked a lot about how to find inner peace by escaping the daily grind, by getting away for a while, avoiding activity. And that's exactly what we've been talking about this morning. Just filling our day with activity does not bring happiness and joy and peace. He encourages letting go of anxieties and worries and enjoying our life in the present. A divine pause does not have to be elaborate, and it doesn't have to look like mine. It can be very different for each one of us. It can be long or short, just a few minutes. For example, sit quietly and have a second cup of coffee. And as was said, drink slowly and enjoy every sip. Get up earlier and watch the sunrise. Or simply just sit still for a few minutes with nothing on your mind to accomplish. Step outside and breathe in the air and think about the heat of the day and the warmth of the sun. Take a slow walk. Sit under a tree and just watch the chipmunks and squirrels play for a while. Listen to the birds sing. Notice the sky and the clouds. Remember when we were children, how we would lie on our backs and look up at the clouds as they floated across the sky? Maybe we need to do that again. Go barefooted in the grass and feel the earth beneath your feet. Nature often helps us remember that all those little worries and all those little jobs we have to do are small compared to our part of something much larger. Make room for silence. Learn to turn off cell phones. Listen to music that uplifts you and brings you peace. A song, a hymn, a peaceful melody that you especially like. And take a longer pause when you can. A weekend away, a visit to the mountains, time by the ocean, or maybe just sitting quietly at home for a day, but don't tell anybody you're there and you got to turn that phone off. A pause is a moment to breathe, reconnect with your faith, your inner peace, and return to daily life with a renewed heart full of joy. This week, when you fill in those little white boxes on those calendars with meetings, appointments, grocery shopping, and responsibilities, before you close that calendar, leave a few boxes empty. Those boxes are not wasted time. They might become the holiest moments of your week. They are where you remember who you are, not because of what you accomplished, but simply because you are a beloved child of God. This week, say a loud, holy no. I just can't. Practice a divine pause. Don't forget to put yourself on your own calendar. Leave room for silence. Leave room for God. Leave room for joy. And above all, don't worry. Be happy. May it be so.
That's very nice, Melba. I liked all the points.
Maybe you have a way to find peace and take that pause that you, I bet Tom's is music.
Yeah.
Partly. I used to go down to a place where two rivers came together in Emporia. The confluence of the Cottonwood and Neosho rivers creates very interesting patterns on the surface. And that I can just become hypnotized by the patterns.
I love that.
I don't get to the beach as much as I would like to, but I can lose myself just watching the ocean. I can sit and watch the ocean for hours, just in oblivion. Maybe you have places like that.
Mhm. When Shay commented in the chat, what a challenge to pause in a culture that wants to produce more and more. And
And
yeah,
you have to be mindful of that. Like Melba said, you have to be saying, "Oh, well, this time I'm not going to do anything because that's my quiet time." And
Yes,
quiet time could be like you said, it could be listening to your music. I do that. I sit on the patio and just look at the sky, watch the birds, um, watch the water. Like Tom says, there's a lot of things that you can just sit and be still. But you really have to be mindful to do that because there is always something to do. There's
yes,
always something to do. Always is, especially when you keep your house clean, you're going shopping, you're doing this, you're working on projects. There's always something to do, but we have to be mindful. I agree with you and all your points to say, okay, I'm not going to do that, or I'm just going to take a minute. Like you said, it doesn't have to be long. It could be 15 minutes, it could be whatever it is that you want it to be. It could be sitting in the car. You guys ever do that? Sit in your
yes,
car just a bit before you go in the house? I do that
yeah,
yes.
sometimes too, yeah. So yeah, that was very good, Melba. I really appreciate all of that.
An
Thank you.
important,
Very
an
good
important point
points.
is to do it purposefully, to do it on
yeah,
purpose.
Purpose
Intentional.
intentionally.
Right.
In order to be for it to be intentional, you have to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to turn off the phone. I'm not answering that phone. I'm not washing the floor right now. I want to do this right now. I find that I always want to clean. And like you said, when you're doing tasks, are you really getting a lot of things done? I mean, I am, but do you really need to do that right now? So I feel like me cleaning and organizing. Oh, I did a lot today. I did a
Yeah,
lot today.
yeah.
Oh, I
I
did
yeah,
good today.
I had said before to Larry, oh, I was so productive today. And then I
Yeah.
think, well, what did I do?
yeah. So one thing that I have started doing for myself, and it's a little thing, but reflecting, it's actually not a little thing, but I remind myself because when you're juggling so many things, I say, Liz, you can't take it with you.
Hmm?
Like when I'm on my deathbed, I know for a fact that I am not going to look back on my life and say, Liz, I wish I had worked more. I'm going to
Yep.
say, I wish I had spent more time with family. I wish I had spent more time enjoying life. I have at least once a week, I say that to myself, and it immediately just gets
Yes.
me out of whatever headspace I'm in. You can't take it with you.
Yeah. And spending time with family, or with yourself, or in the quiet, or with your pets. I mean, that's
Mhm.
the important thing. Yeah, we got a lot of things to do. We do have a lot of things to do, but we also have to take care of ourselves, and that's part of taking care of ourselves, so we can continue to do the things that we need to do, with
Yeah.
a restful mind. My daughter often says, my mind is so tired. My mind is tired. So, well, it's time to take a break. Time to take a break. You know.
Hmm.
I love the way my granddaughter said, well, Mama, sometimes you just get too much junk in your mind and you
Yeah.
got to get some of it out.
Yep.
That's so
And it
beautiful.
is.
It's
And
so
I just
accurate.
love that she's being taught to meditate. I didn't
Yes.
know, and she fully knows what it is.
They have started a program in, I think it's the Baltimore schools, where instead of the kids getting detention, they'll have to go and meditate. I'm like, perfect. That's perfect.
Well,
Yes.
Because
that's
when
what
you're
they
in
need.
detention, you're not in a good mood. You're mad that you're there. You really don't want to do any work. You don't want to be there. You got a bad attitude.
Yeah.
You don't want to be there. You're starting trouble. You're talking. You don't want to be there. But if they're
Mhm.
there and they're meditating, I think it's been working. They said there's less detention now, so it's
Wow.
working. They have to be shown how to calm themselves down. If no one shows you, you don't know what to do. How do you know you're supposed to sit still? Someone
Hmm.
has to show you that you can do this or you can do that. Like your granddaughter Samantha said, she's thinking of butterflies and
Yes.
unicorns and flowers. And that's an easy kind of. That's like your mind's
Yeah.
happy. It's in a restful state because those things make me happy.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a
Hmm.
lot of, again, it's all intentional. It's had to be mindful, myself
Yeah,
included.
for real.
Yeah, myself included. So
Well, thank you, everyone. And Ashanti has a musical reflection for us
yes,
today.
thanks. This morning we talked about the divine pause, slowing down long enough to reset, to realign, and to reconnect with our Creator and with ourselves. It's in that stillness that we hear the word, a message, or even a realization. So as we close, let's quiet ourselves as I sing the song "I Stand on Your Word" by Jonathan Butler. No matter what the situation, I believe, I believe. No matter what the circumstances, I believe, I believe. I stand on your word. Stand on your promise. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. My soul says yes. My soul says yes. Even when my faith gets weary, I believe. I believe. For I know that you will answer. I believe, I believe. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. My soul says yes. My soul says yes to your will, to your way. I will trust and obey to your will, to your way. trust and obey. Stand on your word. Stand on your promise. Stand on your word. Stand on your promise. My soul said yes. My soul said yes. My says yes.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And now, Wedgewood is so engaged in social justice. And to do that kind of work, we need your support. Whether small or large, it helps us to continue with the work we do.
Sorry, y'all. I was so into Ashanti's song. Give me 1 second.
I think we know our call to action this week. Slow down. Find some happiness. Say no. Take a pause. Find some joy in your life. In our closing, may you give yourself the grace to slow your pace and the permission to simply be. May you find holy sanctuary in the ordinary, and may the rush of the world fade away, leaving you open to quiet, unhurried moments of joy. May you notice the beauty that is unfolding all around you, and may your heart always have the time to recognize and welcome true happiness.
We extinguish this flame, but we keep the light in our hearts with the message of love and justice, and taken outside of the walls into which we live in until we see each other again. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so. Now go in peace and be mindful of taking a break and a divine pause this week. Ashe.